Well, hello and good evening. If you have arrived here with the Be On Air Network, you're here to meet Edgar Garcia and Tony to talk about how to get your voiceover career running up and going. But before we get started, I just want to give you a little quick introduction to who we are, and then I'm going to pass the baton over to Tony. So welcome. My name is Linda Lejeski. I am the National Employer Relations Representative for the Be On Air network of media schools. We are now in our fourth year of doing these Be On Air forums, and we're really proud of that. This is a bi-monthly event, and when you think about it, over 4 years, we've had 26 or so guests a year, and we multiply that by 4, and that just says there are a lot of industry pros that are very interested in sharing their knowledge with you so you can get your career rolling on a good track. If you're interested in checking out our library, we encourage you to go to the Be On Air forum and see what we have on our YouTube channel. This series is designed to connect our students, our alumni, and our extended community with industry pros. We're here to educate you, inspire you, expand your network, give you something to laugh about, and be a little more lighthearted about as you make that journey to get to the place that you want to be. As we move through the program tonight, please be aware to the right, you're going to see a chat option, and we encourage you, give a shout out to who you are. If you're a current student or alumni, let us know where you're calling in from. If you want to give your contact information, feel free to do that. And this is really your place where you can connect with other industry pros. Also, questions. We are going to get to an open mic Q&A, a very favorite part of this Be On Air forum as we get to the last 15 minutes. So as we're moving through and talking on topics, if you have a question, shoot it into the chat, and then I'll toss it over to Tony when we get to the last quarter of the show. If you're interested in learning more about the Be On Air network, the network of media schools, I encourage you, put a little comment in the chat if you would like, or if easier, I'm going to put my contact information in the chat, and I encourage you to follow up with me, and we'll get you rolling at one of the campuses. So without further ado, I want to welcome our guest, Edgar Garcia. If you are from Miami, the Miami area, you'll maybe recognize Edgar. He is the education director down at Miami Media School. He's also a 30-year veteran in the voiceover industry. Edgar has voiced many different events. He's also voiced for many multinational ad agencies. He's done corporate narration. I would imagine there isn't an area that he hasn't voiced. And when you hear his voice, you'll understand why he is so good and so in demand in his career. He's going to teach you about some little tricks and ideas to get you rolling and get that dynamite demo reel together so you too can find your success. Along with Edgar, our moderator is Tony Lopez. Tony is a favorite of ours. We see him each and every Be On Air forum. Does a fabulous job of interviewing our guests. Tony is an alumni of the Illinois Media School. He is also the education coordinator there. He is a co-host of his own podcast, The Parley. I like to say he's a TikTok sensation. And just as Edgar, both of them are so engaged with their students and alumni and have an impact on their lives and changing their lives so they can find success. So I am so excited to have both of them here to engage in this conversation and bring you into it so that you too can find your success in voiceover. So with that, gentlemen, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda, as always, for your amazing introductions. And again, I always want to give you kudos before we even start with the forum, as you do a great job of organizing these and giving students opportunities to kind of, think outside the box and get others' experiences, especially from alumni themselves, but from instructors, from professionals. So you create that opportunity for our students, and we love and appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have fun. Appreciate you.
We will, because we got Edgar Garcia in the building, my compadre from Miami, and I'm not going to say I'm jealous. I'm not going to say I'm jealous that you're in Miami because it's like 72 out here in Chicago today. So
81 Miami.
Okay, let's relax. You got the palm trees too, so I guess I can be jealous just a tad. But Edgar, welcome into the Be On Air forum. You've been a part of the Be On Air family, for quite some time, and you know the culture that we have around here. And a lot of what we do for our students is give them real life experiences, right? And we prepare them for the real world, what is the radio, TV, media industry, and so what they're going through because you are a talent yourself and you've been in the industry for a while. So first I wanted to talk to you about just how you got yourself started in media. Like how did this happen? When they hear your voice, I'm sure they're going to know why, but tell us your journey as you started.
Well, basically, people started telling me when I was around 14, 15 years old, hey, you got that voice, you got that announcery kind of voice. You should go into voiceovers. And I didn't even pay attention to it until maybe I was 17, 18 years old when I, really started to kind of consider the thing. I started liking it. But I will say this, Tony. The thing that happened with me was being at the right place at the right time. Things just evolved by itself. And when I found myself was in a radio studio, I had never stepped foot in a radio station before. And here I was with a show. Well, not a show per se, but a kind of a shift covering for someone. But I've never run a show before, so it was kind of daunting at a certain moment because when you see that red light go on and you're on air and a lot of people are listening to you, you're in trouble. And it wasn't easy, but it was quite the trip. And apparently, I liked it because you guys have been a little bit, in favor with me, telling that I've been for 3 decades, but I'm almost reaching 4 decades in the industry. So I think I kind of liked it, staying that long, and I plan to stay for much longer because it's what I do, it's what I enjoy, and it's something that is so creative, and it demands so much from people that are into this kind of craft that it's an ever evolving kind of thing. And one of the things that I always say is we always have to evolve in this business. You cannot stay doing the same thing. And I've seen so many people crash and burn, established professionals that have been having humongous careers, but suddenly they peak and they keep doing the same exact things, and that's about it for them. That's as far as they're going to go. So that's one thing that I will say. The evolution never stops, and the learning process also never stops.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I'm sure you've taken full advantage of every opportunity that you have. I'm going to dive into just a little bit of what I know, off the top. Obviously, you're a voiceover talent. You've done a lot of voiceover work and you've been on the radio. How was that journey getting into the industry from that part, being a voiceover / radio talent?
Well, back in the day, it was quite different from what it is today. And I'm going to explain those differences in a certain way as we move on in the show. But basically, my transition, I started as a broadcaster. And probably 3 or 4 years into it that I kind of got the gist of what I needed to do. I started, trying to go into advertising, which I saw as the major money provider and still to this day is. So I started, calling producers, sending out demo tapes here and there. Some of them were interested, but again, what made me get into the business, because it was kind of difficult back then as it is today, I'm not going to lie, is that networking was the one thing that took me where I wanted to go. It just took me one opportunity, but an opportunity that I grasped, and I took advantage of it the most I could. And this producer tells the other producer, hey, I met this guy. This guy's really good. Let's call him. And, that thing starts to progress, and your name starts, permeating here and there in different agencies. And that was the way that I got into the business. So networking would be, to me, the basic thing that I had to do to get into this business, basically.
And not only that, but you were also a journalist. So who were you a journalist for, and how did that differ from being an actual talent? How did that differ from being voiceover talent in journalism?
That's an interesting question, because basically, I used to be a voiceover. I am I have a bachelor's in human resources. When I began this journey into voiceovers, I started as a broadcaster, and as I moved as a broadcaster, I started doing talk shows. But talk shows, I was doing them alongside journalists, and these journalists were always telling me, "Hey, you're not a journalist. You're not a journalist. Kind of putting you down to a certain extent." So I said, you know what? I'm going back to school. So I did. I went to the School of Journalism. I got my degree again, and I did most of my journalism as a radio journalist, basically covering the political aspect of things, not here in the US, but back in Venezuela, where I'm from. But basically, my job was more moved into what is politics, which is one of the things that mostly a lot of journalists, or maybe no, not journalists, but a lot of voiceovers kind of steer away from. It's kind of a complicated thing.
No, for sure, and there's many aspects to the industry, and there's many positions. Really, there's many things you can do in the media industry, especially now. Back then, I think things were slightly, I wouldn't say limited, but the opportunities weren't there when it came to positions. But now, there's a lot that you can do in the industry and a lot of different positions that you can apply for. We're going to get into all that in a second. But it's awesome to hear, Edgar. And just a reminder to our audience out there, you will have a chance, if you didn't hear so in the beginning from Linda, to join our Q&A session at the 45-minute mark of this forum. And so if you are interested in asking questions or you want to chime in on the conversation, we will present the questions at the 6:15 Central Time mark, 7:15 out in the East Coast. So please be prepared for that. Put the questions now if you want to. We will get to them, we promise, as long as time is allotted. Edgar, all right. So you get into the industry, right? You're networking. You're in the right place at the right time, and now that you've made it. But our students, as they're going and progressing into this program and doing internships, the one thing we preach at the Be On Air schools is you got to have a resume. And you got to have a demo.
Oh,
demo.
You said the right words, man.
Yeah.
As an instructor at Miami Media School, when I used to teach, basically that was one of the normal things that I said on a daily basis to my students. Hey, if you don't have a resume, you're dead. If you don't have a demo tape, you don't exist. Why? Because the reason for a demo tape is, okay, maybe you have a resume and the resume looks really good. Okay, but I want to listen to you. I want to see what you're made of. I want to see what you can offer. I want to see what's your range. What are your abilities? So it has become something so important that today, and I just told you guys that I've been around for almost 40 years in the industry. Today, I still use demos. If you go to my website, what you're going to see is a bunch of demos all over the place, because that's what I'm trying to show. I'm trying to show everybody else what I can do, how I can do it, and what could they get out of hiring me as a voiceover talent. So it is a critical aspect of marketing the talent, which is something that I want to discuss as well, Tony, how to market the talent. Because the one thing is, okay, I'm going to go to the Be On Air network. I'm going to be taught there, but I'm going to graduate. And then what? Who am I going to talk to? What am I going to do? What's going to happen with me? Those kind of things we have to understand and know what our options could be, so we are able to fulfill the dream of doing what we want to do. And I know that a lot of people want to do these kind of things. But again, if you don't have that specific tool, which is the demo tape, guys, you're no one. And I'm sorry to be that blunt.
Yeah, no, it's good. I mean, and it's very, very important, as you mentioned. And putting a demo together can be intimidating. You're trying to get your best to work in it. So, Edgar, we ask you here, what are the guidelines for you? What makes a good demo? You can start from the audio side and then transition to the video side. What should you be seeing in a demo, lengthwise, contact information? Give me the details on what's a successful demo for you.
Look, I'm going to backtrack a little bit because, okay, let's say that we're about to record the demo, but I have to be sure that what I'm going to record, that I have the necessary skills to do this. This comes from practice. There's no other way. You have to understand what your voice can do. And I don't mean, because I've seen so many people come, the people with those big boomy voices and those. Yeah, I know. Okay, I know you're a voiceover or you want to be a voiceover. But let me tell you something really important here. It turns out that the industry nowadays, they steer away from those big boomy voices. They have a use, but it's not for everything. Because what the industry is looking for is the guy next door. So the more slice of life that you sound with your voice, the more next door neighbor kind of thing you're able to deliver, you're going to have something rolling in terms of money coming in, because basically that's what agencies are looking for. That's what the market is looking for. So when it comes to doing a demo, I'm looking for specific things. One, time. And time allows you to just do a demo that should not exceed 1 minute long. That's it. Do not go over that, because no one has the time to listen. I'm going to put it in perspective. Let's say we are auditioning for a commercial. I'm auditioning for Google, and it's me and 100 guys that are auditioning for this thing. Do you think that this guy, the producer, has the time to listen to 100 tapes? It's not going to happen. So the more compressed your material is, the better it's going to be. Now, the second thing that you guys have to consider when it comes to a demo tape is range. What can the voice showcase? Can I go up? Can I go down? Can I go in the middle? Can I be conversational? Can I be cartoonish? Can I be this? Can I be that? The more things that you're able to cram into that 60 seconds that you have, the better. And let me tell you something, guys. My demo tape, the one that I normally submit, is 35 seconds long, not even a minute. And in those 35 seconds, I could cram, or I crammed basically 9 different commercials, 9 different things, to which I'm happy, because I'm showing exactly the range of things that I want to go with to showcase what I'm able to do. That's the first thing that you guys have to consider when doing a demo. It's not about how beautiful your voice sounds. No, it's how realistic your voice sounds. I was this morning working with a student at school, and he showed me something that sounded really good. But the one thing that happened was that people have the tendency to go up, and then when they reach a certain amount of energy, they stay in a flat line all across the recording that they're doing. And that's the problem, because it's not a flat line. It should be a waveform in any kind. What I mean with this is I have to go up and down and this and that and do things with my voice, because it's the only way to attract attention. I'm not going to be able to sell anything. I'm not going to be able to convince anybody if my voice is not doing those high range, low range kind of things all the time, because I'm telling a story. And I would say, think Disney. Think of the narrator of Disney and how he tells the story, and he goes like this and that, because it's the only way to capture attention. So those are elements that you should have inside a demo. The last one that I would say, after showing the range that you have, is the slate. And there is a conundrum there, because some people slate at the beginning, some people slate at the end. What I would say is slate at the end. And for those of you who don't know what a slate is, it's basically just my contact information. Edgar Garcia, phone number, email. That's it. Some people try to tell a story on the slate. Hello, thank you for listening to my demo tape. I'm yada, 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 whatever. By the time this person has not even finished the introduction, the producer has already said next, and he moves on to the next available demo tape that they have. So slating should be all the way to the end. And the reason for slating at the end is if they are listening to the slate, they're interested in you because they heard the whole damn thing. So forget about slating at the beginning, slate at the end. It's going to be a much more profitable kind of thing in terms of the demo and the profitability you could get out of a demo.
I mean, it can sound intimidating, right? It can be one of those things where, you hear these things and you tell yourself, man, how am I going to piece this together? But it's the simplicity in things, Edgar. And I know you know this. We tell our students to save everything that they're doing. You're not piecing together a 20-minute demo. You're piecing together the best of the best moments that you've had whether that be audio, whether that be video, or even if it's graphic design, whatever that is, you're piecing together your work, but only the best. Because like you said, they don't got time. You have to impress them with the first couple seconds in the demo to be able to give you at least a chance to watch whatever you have left.
And let me give you an example about that, because again, to one of my students, he was putting together his demo, and he was working on one commercial, and the commercial only implied of him doing maybe 2 lines of script. It was just a fragment of the commercial. He came in to me to listen to my critique. I sent him back. Look, it's missing this. He comes back. I sent him back. He comes back. I sent him back. I sent him back 14 different times. The guy was starting to get frustrated because he didn't get it. But what I'm trying to say with this is that he finally got it after 15 attempts. But it means that this is not easy to do. Yeah. Don't take it for granted. Don't just record something and be, oh, okay, that's what that sounds really good. No, that doesn't sound really good. Be honest with yourself. Be critical of yourself. Hammer it as much as possible. Destroy it as much as possible. Because, look, I continue doing those things on my work on a daily basis. I listen to my auditions, for example, and I could go and do 7 different takes of one commercial. I listen to all 7 of them and end up saying, I don't like any of them. Back to square one. Let's do it again. You have to be critical about these things. And the best way that I would say that you guys could do is have an extra set of ears tell you something, but not someone that's going to, just butter you up and whatever. No. Someone that's critical, someone that kind of knows and let you know, hey, it kind of sounds good, but there's something there. Go back to the studio, re-record, and get it done.
Yeah, and that set of ears can be done with your career services person, right? Who has to look at your demo anyway, and review and give you the critique. So he can start off there and then find an outside source too. So it's great advice, Edgar. You definitely want somebody looking at that before you send anything for that outside perspective. But demos are very important. We're just letting you all know, save everything you're doing because you won't need it in the end. And Edgar just said it. People still are looking at demos and resumes because you got to be able to sell yourself. So very, very, very important. It's a new day and age, Edgar, where social media came on and it was important. Okay. Now COVID happened and social media is like a must. It is a thing that you need to have. And so, you being in the industry for some time, you've seen the industry change and evolve in many different ways. What is the perspective from you about social media and how important it is? How do you feel about social media when it comes to the media industry?
It's a very interesting discussion, I'll say, because social media has taken over. And let me tell you something, just to give perspective on this. That was probably 4 or 5 years ago at a meeting of the Florida Association of Broadcasters. And we were analyzing how social media had become what it became. And there was a graph, it was a circle. And that circle pointed out, okay, in order of importance, we had social media on the top at 12 o'clock. Then as a clock, it went to email, to concerts, to this, to that, to whatever. And last, radio and television, absorbed by social media. Television and radio are evolving in a certain way to try to catch up with what social media is. But it's definitely something that has filled our lives in a completely different way, and it's made the whole industry react in a completely different way as well. Social media took over. I'm not going to say that TV and radio cannot catch up, but I think they haven't catched up yet, and there's still a long way to go, or there's still a long way to go to get there. But I think that in terms of what can be done, and the opportunities that we have nowadays, it's much bigger because, for example, before in my day, I had to get a show on a radio station. Go figure how the hell you're going to get a show on a radio station because you need the experience first. Nobody's going to give you a microphone and put you on air with no experience whatsoever. So it was very tough to make it in the industry. But nowadays, anybody can have a channel. Anybody can have their own show. And if the show picks up, Good for you. But podcasting, for example, and let me tell you something, guys. To me, podcasting, they did not invent the wheel with podcasting. Podcasting is a radio show packaged in a different way. Mm-hmm. It's the same exact thing.
It's not live. That's all.
It's all. You know, it's the only difference. But and maybe that I can use foul language or whatever I want to do, such as, for example, the Joe Rogan Experience. But the thing is that I do believe that the techniques that we use in television and radio, let's go back and think about that media that I just said. It's kind of, you know, dark in a certain way right now because social media is the king. But anything that you can learn from the old school and put in place in the new school is going to be a significant difference. How many people out there, podcasters, YouTubers, let's focus on YouTubers, for example. 95% of YouTubers crash and burn. Only 5% are really monetizing this, and that is a lot of people crashing and burning. And why would that be? Because they lack the necessary skills, techniques, knowledge to be able to be attractive, to be engaging. That's what radio and television training can give you guys in a certain way, because it's very different for me to say to you, I'm going to turn on a camera. Here you are. Just talk. Okay, try to do that. Now, try to train working as a radio host, for example, and I'm going to give you 30 minutes of your time to speak out, and all is coming from ad-libbing from here. That's going to be a different challenge. And it's going to be very difficult for you to do. But if you start understanding how these things are done, believe me, it's going to be one thing that will prevent you from failing. I'm not going to say this is a foolproof method, but it will prevent you from failing, at least if the talent is there. I'm not going to lie. You're going to need your dose of talent to be able to make it in this world, any way you look at it. But in a certain way, I do believe that the changes that are happening right now are really significant. And I've been, you know, exposed to various changes throughout the years. I began in the analog era. Then I had to transition to the digital era. And then I had the internet era. So Jesus Christ, when you were kind of, you know, working your way around the new thing, here comes the other one. And then came social media. I'm not going to lie. Social media to me was kind of a tidal wave that swept me over, and I paid no attention. And I'm paying, you know, the price right now. But what I will say is that I thought about it and I said, okay, the tidal wave went over me, and now comes AI. Okay.
Yeah.
AI. I hope, because I always confuse with instructor assistants and
yeah. We have IAs on campus, and for those that are from the outside source,
exactly.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
So here comes AI, and I said to myself, this is not going to happen to me again. And I'm on board that technology, and I'm trying to understand it. I'm working my way in it, because, and I will say this to you guys, that a lot of people are saying, for example, this is going to leave us out of a job. The one thing that I've discovered with artificial intelligence, for example, and I'm drifting away from the original question, Tony, but okay. Just give me these extra seconds to explain this. What I find attractive about artificial intelligence is that I've noticed that people are not knowing how to interact with this technology. Questions, prompts that are being created are not robust enough to have the proper result come out. So what I'm understanding out of this is that experience will make you prevail in the artificial intelligence world that we have nowadays. So you need to start moving yourself forward and gaining that experience to be able to cope with what's coming next and not be left behind at a certain given point because of that.
Yeah, and you know, look, social media, it involves everything, right? You mentioned AI is now part of content creation, right? AI is part of being able to help you really expedite a lot of different things when you're creating content. And when that content creation goes in tangent with social media, you know, a lot of people now get their news from social media. They don't turn on Univision and Telemundo, right? They don't turn on ABC and NBC anymore for the news, at least the younger generation, they're on social media. So when I talked about social media, right, and you can put AI in the same conversation. Do you believe that social media is going to evolve again, or do you believe that it is the actual future and that networks are just going to go on social media in the future? How do you feel about that coming from, like you said, a time of analog?
It's a discussion that I have normally with my peers in school. Some say that TV and radio are dead. Some say that they will evolve. I, for one, am saying that it will evolve. And let me give you an example. For example, I don't know how many people here have heard about the concept of visual radio. Uh, Radio stations now have cameras, so I can see what's going on in the studio. It's the same exact setting you're looking at when you see a podcast. Where does that come from? From radio. But it's kind of the response that allows this media, for example, radio in this case, to prevail in a certain way. Look, 80 years ago when TV came around, everybody said radio's dead. That was 80 years ago, and it's still around. I don't see or foresee in the future that radio will disappear, nor do I think that TV will disappear. I think that what we're going to see and what we're going to experience is a complete evolution of the media and an adapting process to come and play in the different age that they're immersed in, and try to play the game the way that social media dictates, basically, because it's going to be that way. There's no other way to look at it.
Yeah, no, without a doubt, and we're going to see that change happen. But it is very important, when it comes to social media. For those of you that are on social media, which should be almost everybody here on campus, right, or outside, continue to post, continue to push your content. You do not know who sees it. You do not know if the algorithm will catch it. You do have to be consistent when you're posting. And on top of that, whatever content is being broadcasted, stations now are posting it on their social media site. So you're watching it on social media. So it is very important. And that is why if you're doing your own content creation, you need to continue to post without a doubt. Edgar, you, first of all, we talked about your voice. It's like I can't do it like you, but you're right here. You're close, right? It's something like this. I can't figure it out. But it's natural talent, right? You got that natural talent, and I'm sure you've honed into it, and you've worked hard at getting your gigs and being able to network. Agencies are another word, or another. Yeah, it's an intimidating thing for people that are trying to get into the industry. So first, I want to ask you: you're the professional here. What's the proper way to handle agencies when you're first starting? How do people get around into it?
Okay. I get that question a lot at school, and a lot of people that want to deal with this, that want to get into this business, that think that they have the necessary skills to go into it, say to me, "How do I do this?" The first thing that we need to understand is there's two significant ways to get this done. One, the one that I recommend anybody who's trying to make his way into this industry, I would recommend the voiceover marketplaces that we have out there. Voices.com, I would say Voice123, Voice Bunny. There are a million. You just have to look for them. I would definitely recommend Voices.com. I've worked with them for a number of years now, more than 10. They're a very reputable company based in Canada, and they have the way of joining producers on one end and voiceovers on the other. So they match the project depending on a profile that you guys have on the website, and boom, you are auditioning. After the audition, if you're selected, then Voices.com acts as a liaison between client and talent. They hold the money in, they're the liaison, but they hold the money in escrow until the client will give the approval, and then the money is released to the talent. It's a very transparent, very simple thing to do, even though I will say that Voices.com came under fire on this last VoiceOver Atlanta, which is one of the big gatherings that we have for voiceovers at a nationwide scale in Atlanta. The other one is in New York. It's called That's VoiceOver. Um, and basically, they were saying that there was kind of a shady thing going on with voices, where, for example, if the client was able to pay or willing to pay $2,000, let's just give an example, $2,000, what appeared was 500 for you. That has not been clarified yet, but as far as I know, and as far as I've worked with voices.com, it is a good way to do it because it is transparent, and you're going to see a lot of projects around 500, $1,000, things of that nature. But it's a good way to get started because it shows you how to audition. It shows you what you need to do, what you did wrong, because sometimes you get feedback from the client telling you, hey, I kind of didn't like this and that. So those observations are really important for you to kind of hone your craft a little bit more and understand what you need to do. The other side of this is when you feel that okay, I think I'm ready. I think I'm really good at what I do. I've done commercial here, there, everywhere. Let's dive into how to get the big brands, which is the job that I work for, auditioning for the big brands. You need to have an agent. You need to have an agent or a manager. They all do the same, but they're not the same. Let me clarify this a little bit. An agent will be a person that will get you the auditions that you need to see if you're going to be booked for the jobs. All right. A manager will do exactly the same thing. The only difference is the manager is going to take a cut of 20%. The agent is going to take a cut of 10% of whatever you do. The good thing about this and the good news about this is that clients are now willing to pay money in pocket to you. Let's say $1,000 for a project. They're willing to pay $1,000 to you plus 20% to the agent. So the agent becomes someone that's working for you for free in a certain way. So it's really good. But the only way you have to access the auditions is through an agent or through a manager. There's no other way. The only other way would be the one that I just told you about, voices.com, voice123, whatever that may be. But in terms of agents, we need to get the proper agents. And now, let me tell you what I do and what's the strategy that I've devised for me to work in this industry and understand what goes on in the industry. I have a rep in Miami. No, I got three actually in Miami. One for on-camera work and two for voiceover work. Okay, three agents in Miami. But I have a manager in LA and New York. That is markets number one, New York, and number two, LA. Then I have a manager in Chicago, market number three. Then I have a manager in Denver, not a very significant market, but I have a manager there. I have a manager in Las Vegas, and I have another one in Atlanta. What am I doing with this? I'm expanding because the market is very, very big and there's a lot of stuff going on. You cannot just stay in your own hometown and expect to do a lot of things there. Yes, you might be able to do those, but hey, it's 50 states here. Why wouldn't I, try to be inside what's going on in every single state? So that visual that I have around the country from east to west, the other way, will make you access even more opportunities. Because guys, I normally audition on a monthly basis around 100 times. If I get two projects, I'm on a roll, baby. I'm on a roll. That's how tough this is. Yeah. Of course, you're going to say, hey, where's the money? No, the money's there because one project could profit you probably $50,000. The other one, the next one would give you $2,000, and the next one may be $1,000. But it fluctuates here and there depending on the size of the project that you're involved with. When it comes to managers will give you the Googles, the Apples, the Amazons, those kind of brands. The reps or the agents are going to give you the more local products that we have in our hometowns or in the vicinity of those places. So basically, the way to market your talent is to get out there and start, submitting to agents and reps and managers. I'm sorry, uh, for you to be seen, for you to be not hired, but put in the roster of any manager, because that's when you get the auditions, and then the good things start flowing if you have the necessary talent. All right.
So it's a lot. It's a lot out there, guys, and you have to just be able to do one thing from what Edgar's saying here, and that's be able to talk, right? To be able to show your talent, but also makes the right decisions, and it can be done. And so, from that aspect, Edgar, as you talk about, usually you've had a lot of experience with them. You just recommend multiple, maybe getting into multiple agencies if you are able to do so, correct?
Shop around, shop around. We got the internet. It's so easy. You go into, for example, let me go to Philadelphia. Let me see who's there. Agents, voiceover agents. Google it. And you're going to get a bunch of those. Then go to the websites and then kind of take a look. This is really important. Kind of take a look at the talent they already represent. Because if there's someone that's kind of similar to you, makes no sense to be there. So go to the next one until you find the niche that you're really looking for, or at least the pool of talents that are not similar to you, which will allow them to, market you properly and put you out there to be able to get the jobs that you're looking for. So shop around city by city, look at the markets, see what the big markets are, or understand what the big markets are. For example, things that I've noticed. Miami is a big city, not as big as Chicago, of course, but it's a big city. I'm not gonna lie. But it turns out that we have Tampa. Tampa is a much smaller city if we compare it to Miami. Mm-hmm. Turns out that Tampa is market number 11 in the country, and Miami is number 19. So we need to have those numbers and know exactly where we're getting into, so we know that we are, trying to pierce the proper markets. Maybe Philadelphia instead of Atlanta. Maybe I don't know, San Francisco. Shop around. There's plenty of voiceover agents out there that might be interested in you, but that takes us back to square one: demo tape, because that's the only thing you're going to give the agent or the manager, the demo tape. That's what they're going to listen to. And if they're interested because the material inside that demo is really good, then they'll call you. Otherwise, forget about them. So you see, Tony began with this, and I think it's really important to kind of reiterate it, because basically what we're talking about is, if you don't have the demo, you are not going to be able to do anything in the business. That's where it takes us.
Yeah. It goes full circle, as we say. It goes full circle, exactly. Because everything's entailed into one, especially to be successful in this industry. In about 3-4 minutes, we are going to go to our questions on the chat. I do see them popping in little by little. Thank you guys for all writing in the chat. Please put those in there like that. We can get to them in about the next 3-4 minutes. Your questions are important, so we'll get to as many as we can before the hour mark. Last thing for you, Edgar, the big theme of our conversation I keep hearing from you and kind of from what we've been talking about is the word networking. And I like to bring this word up in the forum because honestly, without this, you cannot be successful. You can learn everything you want in the class. You can get the instruction from your instructors. You can, turn your assignments. But if you don't network outside the building, in the building, at home, whatever, wherever, you will not be successful. Edgar, talk to us about how important networking is in the media industry.
I think it's all, look, my own example. I told you guys at the beginning that networking was the one thing that allowed me to get to a radio station and then to doing commercial work as a voiceover. Okay. How did I get that? By meeting people, by just, coming here, talking to this guy, talking to that guy. Look, my big breaks in my career, 3 or 4 big breaks that I had when I worked for Warner Brothers, when I worked for different, networks that broadcasted throughout Latin America. So I was the voice for networks that broadcasted to 23 different countries. So it was a huge undertaking and a huge exposure. But to get to that point, things have to happen. In my particular case, I was at the right place at the right time. That's what allowed me to do or get the big breaks that I have. But guess what? The only way that I was in the right place at the right time is because of networking. There was no other way.
Yeah. Yeah.
No other way. So the one thing that I truly love about Be On Air Network is that everybody that's with us, studying with us, has the ability to network with their instructors, their first line of defense or offense, if we may say it that way. Because what we like, we take and we put into the business. We do it all the time. And I've seen so many people that have gone through Miami Media School in this particular case, which is the one that I can talk about. Uh, I can see a lot of people that have come and that we've seen and that we've recommended, why don't you take this person to do this particular job? It doesn't matter what. Carrying cables, serving coffee, I don't care. What you guys have to do is never say no. Because the good thing about this is if I have you guys or give you the opportunity, or Tony or any other faculty member of any school in the Be On Air network tells you, hey guys, I got this. It's not a big thing, but it's going to expose you. Look, I've seen people there that went to do an internship, 2-3 day internship. That was 2 years ago. They still work for the people because they did a great job.
Yeah.
And that's the good thing about this. You can have the opportunities to be on a film set or be on a radio station or do this or do that because you are networking with your faculty members. And those faculty members will, open the doors for you so you meet other people and then you're on your own. And if you're able to be smart in the way you move around and the way you learn, because let's put it this way, it's an internship, probably, but could be paid or not. I don't care. But look, I'm carrying cables, so be it. But I'm watching the guy with the camera doing this, and that, and I'm asking the guy firsthand, how do you do that? And there's no better thing that you guys can do is to ask someone to teach you. Why? Because it gives them the upper hand.
Yeah.
They feel big. They feel great. And they will cover you with their wings. Come here and I'll teach you and I'll let you know how this is done. And you're learning from a pro in the process. You're getting paid, even better. If you're not, you're learning anyway. So look at it that way. There's a lot of opportunities out there. I'm not going to say it's easy. It's not. But if you put the effort, if you serve the coffee, but you serve it in the proper way, they're going to notice. They're going to see you, and they're going to give you other opportunities. Just a brief example, so you guys understand what I'm talking about here, even though it's pretty self-explanatory. But anyway, I have a godson that is a sports journalist, and I got him a job as a board operator in the station that I work for here in Miami. He was reluctant. I don't want to do that. I'm a journalist. I don't want to do board operation. And I told him, are you stupid? Or are you what? Dumb? Or what do you want me to tell you? Go get the job, get it done. You'll see. The job was at ESPN Radio. Okay. So he was board opping for ESPN Radio. He had 4 hosts in front of him. By 2 months' time that he's doing the board, they know each other already. They're having their conversations about sports in the commercial break, whatever. And these guys noticed that this guy knows a lot about sports. 4 months in the job, he's already on the other side. He's now a host. And 6 months in the job, he's now the program director of a station. Should I say more? That's the way it goes, guys.
Yeah.
That's the way it goes.
Network. If you didn't get anything from that, just network. Okay. Very, very important. You got to be able to do it. And you just definitely be ready for that as you are doing your work here at school. There's no other way around it. So let's get to our Q&A session here now, where we have people asking questions. We're going to put our questions up on the screen, and Edgar, you're going to go ahead and answer them for us to the best of your ability. Noah Rowland writes, is it best to make a demo reel on your phone or on your computer?
Nora, computer. Phone. Look, a phone, first of all, will never give you the ability to be that precise in terms of the editing that you need to do. This is a tailor-made thing that has to sound its best. Stay away from your phone as much as possible. Sit on your computer and get the job done right. Remember what we were talking about, the guy that I sent back 14 times. It's about that. Focus more, Nora, I would say focus more on the quality of what you're going to record.
Right.
But also, when it comes to putting it together, and putting together a demo is a simple thing. It's just adding stuff one after the other. It's no big deal. Okay? But in terms of quality, in terms of mix, a phone can't give you those tools. How to mix properly something, you're not going to get it on phone. It's like people working in CapCut. CapCut and Premiere, it's two different worlds.
For sure. Gabby also writes us, she says, should we make multiple demo reels in the beginning?
Yeah, why not?
She means in the beginning of the career.
Gabby, that's a very good question. Let me tell you. Yes, I would do as many demos as possible. Let me make you visualize this. Every single thing that we do has like a category. For example, voiceovers for commercials is one category, but inside that category, we have automotive, we have financial institutions, we have retail, we have this, we have that, and each require different kinds of voices. But let me go even further. What if you are wanted for a documentary? You need a demo for documentary and only for documentary. Then you might need a demo for e-learning narrations. Then you might need a demo for, I don't know. Well, there's so many avenues. And the more you have, the more possibilities you have to basically sell yourself in a proper way. So don't just stick to one. Think of the different things you might be good at in terms of categories and go there and do those demos. It doesn't require a lot of work in terms of what you got to do. For example, a documentary demo or a narration demo, it's just a narration. Just pick a script and narrate it. Maybe, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 seconds. That's it. You don't need to create a full-fledged demo to have that, but you do need the proof that you're able to do a documentary narration, that you're able to do, for example, video game voices, that you're able to do dubbing, that those kind of things. And each and every one of those, if you guys go into my website, you might see the amount of different things that I'm showing there, because it depends. Look, for example, I have commercial demo, but I also have imaging demos. Why? Because it's two different things. A commercial for radio or television is not the same thing as imaging, which is promotion for a network of some kind. It's done in a different way. So we need a different demo adapted to that, because they want to listen how you would sound. I'm not going to lie. In terms of demos nowadays, a lot of people and a lot of clients are going to tell you, look, I like to hear how I sound, how my name sounds in your voice. Okay, give me the script. I'll record it for you. No problem. But they will need to listen to the scope of things that you're able to do. And the only way to do it is that way.
Excellent stuff, Edgar. Excellent stuff. Let's get to our next question here. It's from Brian West. They write Cleveland campus here. Shout out to the Cleveland campus. I don't know which one. There's three, but Cleveland. I'm sorry, Cleveland. Forgive me. Just forget what I just said. Cleveland campus. What would you recommend for demo platform? YouTube, social media, profile, or email a file to people of interest?
I would say a combination of all of those, but I would definitely go for a demo platform. If you're beginning in this thing, I would go to a demo platform. Voices.com. I'm going to circle back to that. What happens with voices.com, Brian, is that basically it will become a website a free website to a certain extent. I have to explain something after that, but it becomes a free website for you to post all the demos that you want. Why? Because probably those producers looking for different voices might listen to yours. As a matter of fact, the website will tell you how many plays that specific demo has had. So that's telling you in a certain way, hey, I'm being listened. Okay. I may have not gotten hired yet, but I'm being listened. So I would definitely go to a demo platform. You can market yourself via YouTube, social media. Yes, you can do that. But my main thing would be the voiceover platforms, and of course, looking for a rep whenever you're ready. Okay, but the $1 million question would be, when do I know that I'm ready? That's the thing. That needs a lot of training. What I will say about this is, do not take this for granted. It takes a while. Be patient. Okay, it requires a lot of training. Look, people have a tendency to breathe incorrectly, and you know what a producer can detect in 2 split seconds? A person that doesn't know how to breathe correctly. I had to train for 3 straight years with speech therapists to get the proper training to be able to do the things that I do. Guys, this is like singing in a certain way. It's more or less like singing.
Yeah.
So you need training anyway. Okay.
Yep. Thank you, Brian. Next question. Mick the Jock says, "What should you do specifically in a demo reel? Do I write any lines or start recording my voice saying anything?"
No, there are resources out there. I'm going to give you one. There's a website called Edge as a corner, EDGE, edgestudio.com. If you go there, you'll find something called VO resources or VO training, if I'm not mistaken. You'll find it. Okay. Right there, you're going to find around 6,000 different scripts. Choose the ones you like and do your demo. As a matter of fact, you don't even need to choose the whole thing. Just pick a paragraph, and that's what you're going to focus into. That paragraph, I'm going to do 100 times until I get it, in a way that it sounds like a pro. And then you move on to the next one. That's where you're going to see, guys. This is important, by the way, and thank you for the question, Mick, because it slipped my mind. But this website in particular will help you guys significantly in terms of the contents that you need to put into the demo. It's all there. When I'm saying that you're going to find there different categories, you're going to see them all. And then you're going to understand the scope of this thing and the many things that can be done and how many demos should I need to be able to be competitive in all of those. I will say this. I'm not competing in all because I know my limitations. I can't be good at everything. All right. For example, in my particular case, I suck at dubbing. I'm not good. I'm not good, and I have to recognize it. So that's left apart, and I move on and do other things that I do know that I'm really good at. So basically, this website will help you guys to get all the scripts that you need. All you need to do is sit down patiently, record the proper way, get feedback if possible, and then package it into a proper looking demo. edgestudio.com.
Thank you very much. We got time for I think one maybe one or two. We'll see how time is. Siobhan Henderson writes, "What if your voice is naturally kind of dry or soft spoken?"
We have to go back then to the training that I was talking about. If you're soft spoken, it means that you have a tendency not to project your voice. If you listen to me talking, my voice is not only going towards the mic of the computer, it's traveling beyond and hitting the wall in front of me. That's the way you got to talk. I don't have to shout to be able to do that. But what I do have is projection. What a soft-spoken person doesn't have is that amount of projection. So what's happening is that your voice is kind of gravitating just in front of the mic, and it's staying there. It has to travel. Try to pierce the mic and follow through. All right? That's the best way that your voice could resonate a lot more. But the other thing is, how do I use my inner face as an echo chamber to make this voice sound bigger? Because my voice could go this deep, my voice could go even deeper, or my voice could go this high. It depends how I, bounce my voice to different parts of my face and skull. My voice will change. It's just a matter of practicing. It's just a matter of experimenting. What else can my voice do? And you'll be amazed at the things you might be able to do.
Very good. All right. I think we have time for one more question here. And then anybody that doesn't get their question answered, you could definitely write us later. Or you guys can write Edgar later as well. I'm sure he can get back to you. City Records Open Mic Showcase writes, how do you bring your voice out in projects that don't tell you how to use it?
Normally, projects do tell you. When you're working at a manager, agent kind of level, you will always get specs of the commercial. The problem is the specs are something that only the twisted minds of creatives understand. Because I've seen things like, I want you to sound happy but sad at the same time. How the hell do you do that? Impossible. It always has, that weird kind of directive that they give you. What you have to try to understand is, what is the commercial about? Who is the commercial talking to or wanting to talk to? I mean, target audience. All right. And with that in mind, looking at what the script is saying, try to figure out what kind of voice should I use for this. It's more, look, I've had projects or auditions that I've done, I haven't gotten. And suddenly I listen to the commercial on the air, and the guy on the air, I say, that's the guy they chose? Really? But it turns out there was something there that I did not do. You see, we are about to become people that are going to work in a business that's highly subjective. And the one thing and the one takeaway that I will give you guys today is, you're going to get a lot of no's. I get them at a rate of 98 per month. I should be depressed. I should be hanging myself from a, I don't know. But no, because it turns out that this is a subjective business. When they say no, it doesn't mean you're not good for it. It means you weren't the guy for the job. That's basically it. Yeah. And we have to understand that. And the more we understand this concept, it will allow us to succeed in the business, because otherwise you're doomed to failure, because you're going to think, I'm not just good enough for this. No, you are. Everybody has a talent. The thing is, we have to nurture it and we have to develop it as much as possible. I hope that answers your question.
It says, I'm sure it did. That was awesome information there, Edgar. Thank you for answering those questions. Real quick, before we get out of here, I'd like to do a couple shout outs as always. The chat was popping this whole hour. So, Edgar, thank you for everything. Shout out to El Capo from Chicago. I'm the Owl, the Knockout Breakout, Chaka, Brandon DeReese, Kelvin Teller, NB Talks, Brandon Osena, Alan Spears, Bad Hollywood was in the chat.
I'm gonna have to talk to Nancy so she can fly me over to Chicago and talk to these guys in person.
Hey man, Ashley Cunoff, Vanishing Shadows, Mary C, Gary, RC Murphy, Stephanie Willis, Janet. Hey, Janet from Miami. Who else? Unapologetic Radio New York. And Shelly Melendez. We also had Nikki from Chicago. See you, Andy Betts, and we did Chaka Sunshine. I think I'm missing one more. I think I got everybody. Hold on. Oh, Grand Man from Chicago.
By the way, there.
Yes, Pretty's World, and I think that's Sean Scott, Nora Rowland. They had a question in there as well. And I'm going to make sure I don't forget nobody, because everybody does right, and they were really. Gabby is in here as well. Gabby, Deshaun from Chicago. See you. Age of Blonde 8325. Deshaun from Chicago again. Siobhan, thank you for your question. Andy Betts, and I believe that's everybody. Oh, Mike the Jack as well. We appreciate everybody who tuned in for the forum. Guys, this is all for you guys. We appreciate everything. Linda, again, we thank you for putting
those
together.
questions my way, and I might have the time in a certain moment to answer as much as I can. I may answer in audio format, which I think is going to be faster. So so I could do that. So egarcia@beonair.com is my email, so you guys can shoot me an email with those questions, and I'll get back to you guys. So no problem at all.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure. And yes, Linda, I'm sorry. Linda's
no,
thank you, Linda.
We always talk on each other. This is always that time at the end. The hour went so fast, didn't it?
Oh, yeah.
And really, thank you both, Edgar. So much great information, and Tony, you have being there. The two of you together were fabulous, and to everybody that joined us, as Tony shouted out your names, great questions. A lot of thinking. It's so clear that voiceover is so important to our students and our alumni and extended community. And, this is what happened to us last time, Edgar. We're like, oh, we better have you back again, right? So I hope that you'll join us again because, I think we could go a little bit deeper on some of the areas and maybe do some demos, to share. But just such a timely topic. So thank you. And for everybody that's on here, please remember the Be On Air forum is alive on our Be On Air YouTube channel. So you can watch this over and over if you didn't get your pencil moving fast enough. I did try to put in the chat all the different websites, that you spoke about. And I put Edgar and Tony's email in there as well as mine. And you can find any of us on LinkedIn as well. And so for tonight, we say, we wish you a great night. It's the end of April. All the best as you approach May. And we look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks when we return to talk about another fascinating topic. So stay tuned. And
every 2 weeks, y'all. Every 2 weeks, join us.
Every 2 weeks, right. And we live on YouTube. So subscribe, like, and be a part of our family. Have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you for having me, Linda.
Lots of fun.
Tilo.
Placer.